All right, guys. Today I'm joined by Sahil Patel. Sahil, how are you?
I'm really glad to be here.
Awesome, awesome. And Sahil Patel, just as an FYI, is the CEO of Spiralize, the Atlanta-based CRO powerhouse that runs predictive A/B testing on over 130,000 pages, driving 20 to 30% lifts for SaaS brands like CrowdStrike, Bamboo HR, and Gusto. He's a Harvard MBA and ex-SaaS founder who sold Express. Sahil brings energy, edge, and optimization, hosting interactive CRO crimes game show at CMO events, and even rocking a Rush cover band on the side. Sahil, great to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me. And what an amazing intro. Can I just bring you with me like everywhere I go and just like I walk in the room and you say all those wonderful things? Yeah, that was great.
I will do you better and I will clip that for you and I'll give it to you. How about
That is
that?
great.
That way
That
it
is
can go
great.
everywhere. And then I'll join you in every room. Let's dive in here.
Yeah,
So I'm
man,
really curious, what has been the key to scaling your agency to where you are today?
So the key to scaling our agency has been that we've transformed it from a pure agency into a tech-enabled service. And that was a big reason that I was brought in. So I'm not the founder. It's a fun story. I'm actually not the founder of the business. I was an early customer when I was running my last SaaS business where I was the founder CEO, a company called Express. You mentioned them in the intro. I ran that for 10 years. Early on, I became a customer of Spiralize. I met the founder. Actually, his oldest daughter and my oldest daughter went to school together. We met at a parent event. And he opened my eyes to conversion rate optimization. It had a big impact on the business I was running, became a big fan. And over the years, the founder, he started productizing it. Now, what a lot of agencies do when they productize means they create, but this is a good thing. It means they systematize their delivery processes. But it's still fundamentally like people. And it's great because it gets what's inside the heads of the principals of the business and into a team, and it lets you moderately scale the business. What he had started doing is actually turning that into a SaaS product. And after I sold ER Express, I was thinking about the next thing. And he said, hey, you're good at some things. I'm good at some things. One of the things you're good at is you've actually run a pure SaaS business. He was really good at running an agency. He said, I think we should do those two things together. And we started building the roots of it. And by the way, there was a bunch of other great things going on. The business was growing. It was profitable. It was cash flow positive. It was here in Atlanta, which is where I lived. And I like the idea of that quite a bit. And so I've been CEO for 3 years. That has been what has allowed us to achieve a lot of scale is that we're now selling a bundled product and service that goes with it.
Got it. And can a client purchase one without the other, or is it
They
always
cannot. It's all together. It's all together. And that's the moat of it is that the product by itself, there's value there, and the service by itself, there's value there. There are other companies that have maybe not the same product, but let's call it website optimization products. Those exist. We're not by any means the first. I don't even know if we're the best. There's lots of other ones out there. And there's a lot of other really good CRO agencies. We're not the first. I have a humble opinion that I think we're really good, but there are other ones out there and they have good claims to make that they're also really good. But the thing that we're doing that's unique is that both of those things are together. There are about 34,000 websites that regularly run A/B tests. We're crawling all of them to find the best A/B tests. And then our customers get to run the best ones. And we run them with them, and they only pay us when they get the lift.
even more interesting
Yeah. And
as a
we can
client?
do that. The reason we can guarantee it is because we're able to predict the lift. And the reason we're able to predict the lift is because we've crawled and found everyone else's A/B tests. If you only know, there's a thing called the winner's curse, right? If you only have the winning tests, you don't actually know what works. You need the losers too. You need the distribution of outcomes. And if you only know the tests that you run, there's also a bias because what do people run? They tend to run the tests they know. But when you look at all tests everyone is running, you have a much better representation of what works. Then you can predict what works. And then you can say, hey, if we can predict what works, we're willing to take that risk and only get paid if we can deliver the lift.
I feel like he just gave us some crazy secret sauce.
I think it's special. Let's call it the special sauce. Yeah.
Yeah. Now the how is a different story, right?
Sure. I'm happy to talk about the how if it's interesting to the listeners.
Yeah, we can definitely get there. Before going into that, I guess I'm curious. So you are the CEO of the agency, correct?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So given that, where do you want to take the agency this year? Like where you guys have your sights set on?
So we focus on conversion rate optimization, CRO, for B2B SaaS websites. E-commerce discovered CRO many years ago. Booking.com was doing CRO more than a decade ago. But B2B SaaS, an amazingly small number of those websites do any kind of CRO. Maybe 20% of the market is regularly doing any kind of A/B testing. By the way, and a lot of the testing that happens is I call meek testing. Like we'll change the button from green to blue and see if that makes a difference. So there's an enormous opportunity. The vast majority of the market is untapped. And so that's where we're taking the business. Another way of thinking of it is CRO, at least in the world of B2B SaaS where we play, it's where SEO was about 25 years ago.
There's a lot of potential, is what you're
Yeah.
saying. Okay. And so do you guys have a team that's supporting you? And like, what does that structure look like?
Yeah, we have a team of about 185 people. So we've built a little bit of size now, and about a third of them, and we have a mix of people. We have people building our proprietary product. We call it Spiral Metrics. So there's a part of the business that looks and feels like a SaaS company. And then we have a part of the business that looks and feels like an agency. By the way, everyone works together, but that is doing when a client says, hey, I want to sign up for Spiralize, they're getting a full service team, designers, copywriters, developers. So we will work inside our customer's tech stack to build those A/B tests and run the tests, and we become like an extension of their team.
Wow. That's really interesting. And what does the process look like then? Are you guys, your acquisition model, is it running more like a SaaS or is it running more like a service-based agency?
I think it's a little bit of both. I would say where it's different than a pure SaaS is this is not a self-service. You can't go to spiralize.com, log in, and start doing it. By the way, that maybe there's a day where that will come. It's just not where we are today. I think it looks and feels mostly like an enterprise SaaS sale. If someone wants to work with us, sometimes they come to us, sometimes we're going to them, but there's a sales process and we try to make it as painless as possible. We've stripped out all the bad stuff that everyone hates, disco calls, impossible pricing, complicated stuff. There's none of that. We don't do any, I don't say we don't do any disco, but very limited. We want everyone that takes sales calls with us, we're trying to get to a wow moment in the first 7 minutes. There's pricing is on our website, but I think that's one of the things that makes us different than, say, a typical agency where it says their answer is either it's complicated or we know that to get a sales call, we can hold the price for ransom. It's fine. I don't begrudge anyone. If that what works for you, you should do it. But that's not, I don't think that's not how I want to be treated as a customer. So we don't treat our prospective customers. Pricing's on the website, base price, no secrets, $25,000 a month. So we're a premium product. Now we do some performance pricing that is based on some mutually agreed upon metrics. And that's one where we need to have a conversation. But I don't want anyone getting and spending their valuable time talking to us, finding out at the end that we're not even close to their budget. You should know before you even raise your hand and say, this is mildly interesting. Am I buying is this a McDonald's burger or is this a 5-star oak paneled steakhouse or something in between?
That's really interesting because I think so many agencies are doing the opposite where they're withholding price, to get the client, right? And the
Sure.
question is like,
I relate to that. I get it.
is it actually doing more harm than good? And from a sales perspective, I'm curious how your sales team, are they thrilled that they're showing up with like people who understand and know the pricing and they're technically already qualified in that perspective?
The answer is yes. They love it. Doesn't mean that it always works. It doesn't mean that we've got it figured out. I don't think it means that we're better than companies that choose a different approach. Like you got to do the thing that works for you. But we've tried it both ways. And we found this way works better for the audience that we talk to, for the kind of service and product we sell. This works better.
Got it. And that's actually one of the questions I had was, how has your strategy changed from maybe when you stepped in till now? And it sounds like you've answered that.
Yeah. Here's the interesting thing. When I got in, it was an exciting time. The business was growing. It was profitable. And we now joke in hindsight that the day Sahil joined as CEO, company performance immediately went, did this. Now, we now know that was recession of 2022. But yeah, almost to the day I got there, sales started slowing down and those termination letters that started rolling in. And in the first, I think it was 4 or 5 months, we had to do a headcount reduction. Really tough thing to do. Not thing you do lightly, certainly not the thing that when you're hired as a growth CEO, you anticipate doing right off the bat. But it's what we had to do because we had been hiring like growth was like this and growth suddenly was like this. And then, so that was a reaction. We just had to do it, had to take the hard medicine. It gave us some time because we didn't know when the business was going to come back. Was it going to be a month? Was it a quick correction? Was it going to, who knows? But it was an opportunity to re-engineer some of our processes for what was optimal rather than just what worked.
Got it.
And so that's where we said, hey, let's rethink everything from how we do lead gen to our sales process to our onboarding. Just work our way chronologically from the first time someone talks to us to when they say, yeah, I want to do this, to they're working with us and they want to keep working with us. And by no means have we figured it all out, but we've made some good progress. It took about a year. Before the business got back on the growth track.
Wow. And what was the biggest challenge that you faced in that process? Was there one kind of sticking point?
So we went with the mindset of you got to give someone a wow moment. I think so many SaaS, and I don't want to even paint all of SaaS or all of agencies, just I think a lot of sales processes in the business to business world are boring. They start with like 15 disco questions and then a BDR doesn't tell you anything and says, great, on the next call, you'll get to talk to my AE. And then everyone's like, wait, what the hell was this? We just spent 30 minutes, got nothing. And then the next call is at the AE. And then the AE says, okay, now you're going to have a third call and we'll get you pricing. By the way, we know this because we just went through this with some of our vendors.
Yeah, got it.
And in some ways, we saw that as low-hanging fruit. Is let's have a wow moment. Let's give them something great. Let's put pricing on the website and we'll give them pricing in every call before the end of the call. And we'll put in writing right after the call.
There's something to be said about that because literally more offers means more at bats, means more conversations about, is this the right thing for you? So that's interesting. Curious, how are you guys leveraging AI to stay competitive in the space currently?
So one of the things that AI does really well is consuming large amounts of data and making sense out of it. And one of the things it doesn't do well is putting that in terms that human beings relate to on an emotional level. So the first part is something that's inherent to our product, which is looking at everyone else's A/B tests and figuring out if you're a B2B SaaS in HR tech and you're running a paid landing page with non-branded, in other words, category long tail search, and you're getting between, let's say, 50 and 100 hand raisers a month for a 7-day trial. Here are the 8 tests you should run. By the way, notice I didn't say this is what your page should look like. It's here's the portfolio of tests that you should run, say, over the next few quarters. So it's really helpful for that. Now, you still have to get the client to run the test. You have to build the test. You have to write the copywriting in a way that emotionally connects with their audience. Also, part of the challenge and part of the value we add, part of being an agency, is getting the client excited and bought in to this process and accepting the fact that if you run a lot of tests, many of them will not win. When I say win, I would geek out here, what statisticians would say, if the version, the challenger outperforms the control, the one that you historically show your audience at a statistically significant level, which means it's not just chance that it's doing better. And human beings are really much better equipped to do that than AI. We're using AI a lot in the first, and we think it's an advantage to continue investing heavily in the great team members of Spiralize to do the second part.
Awesome. And wrapping up here, I know you have a hard stop. What is one piece of advice that you would give to other CEOs, founders, or agency owners that are trying to get the level of success that you guys are having?
Okay, I don't know if I could say this is causative to the level of success at all. Huge caveat. I would say, having now second time CEO, The first thing is you have to just get used to living in the valley. Everyone's journey has peaks and valleys, and you see everyone's peaks, but you live in your own valleys. And I think if you live trying to escape your own valleys, it's a really tough way to live. And if instead you're able to accept it now, you don't just live in the valley all the time. It's just that's not a good recipe to. If you can actually accept it, a lot of the journey is in the valley, and that's okay. Now you got to have a plan to escape out of it. But the reality is you escape out of it, and then there's going to be another valley, sometimes sooner, sometimes later. That would be the main thing I would tell everyone. I don't think that will cause you to have success, but I think part of it. I think the second thing is have a professional therapist and work with them before you need help.
Got it. Sahil, thank you so much for taking the time to jump on.
Thank
It's
you,
been
Chris.
fun. It was a little rapid fire, but yeah,
It's the
I
best way to
think
do it.
a ton of golden nuggets. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Where can people find you?
They can find me on LinkedIn. I post 4 mornings a week at 7:30 a.m. Eastern.
Boom. Let's do it. All
Yeah, you
right.
mentioned the game show. Check out the game show. It's called CRO Crimes. It's we take something that's eat your veggies, like how to optimize websites. We gamify it. People come on my show. They try and beat me in 7 rapid fire rounds. The winner gets $100 for their charity.
Oh, that's cool. All right. Sahil, thank you so much.
You're welcome.